Welcome to the fourth meeting of the Senate VMAP Committee. Please silence your cell phones. If you have cell phones with you today, please turn them down. If you're interested in speaking today, please make sure you sign up at the podium. Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Senator Berg. Senator Boswell. Here. Senator Higdon. Senator Nunn. Here. Senator Richardson. Here. Senator Smith. Senator Tishner. Senator Wilson. Senator Yates. Vice Chair Reed. Here. Chair Deneen.
Here. We do have a quorum and are duly constituted to do business today. At this time, Senator Nunn, will you lead us in the pledge, and then Senator Tishner will lead us in prayer.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, thank you so much for bringing us all here together on this extra day of committees. I pray that your blessing would fall upon this building. I pray that you would give us wisdom and guidance. And I thank you for all of those who serve the citizens of Kentucky and this nation. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
All right, today we have several bills, resolutions for consideration. Senate Bill 266, an act relating to the Department of Kentucky State Police, sponsored here by Vice Chair Senator Aaron Reed. So if you would take the table, bring anybody that you would like to be with you, if there are any. All right, well, make sure you introduce yourself for the record, please. Make sure your mic is turned on, and you may begin.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, fellow committee members. My name is Senator Aaron Reed from District 7, and today I bring forward a bill that is long overdue. One that will allow Kentucky State Troopers the ability to conduct secondary employment, just as nearly every other law enforcement agency in Kentucky already allows. This change will boost morale, improve recruitment and retention, and give troopers the opportunity to supplement their income to a level never been seen in this agency. The Kentucky State Police is an agency built on honor, integrity, and tradition. I know this firsthand because I'm a family member to the KSP. My father was a trooper for over 28 years, and I grew up always proud to see my dad put on his trooper gray uniform. He made an honest wage, and we grew up living in a modest, double-wide modular home. Despite the sacrifices troopers make, the pay has never been what it should be or could be. No one joins the KSP for the money. They join because it is the most honorable, most impressive law enforcement agency in Kentucky. They wear the sharpest uniforms, and they are the Lone Rangers, the toughest men and women on the road. But we all know the reality. The state cannot afford to pay them what they truly deserve. This bill is about giving these troopers a choice, an opportunity to earn more, support their families, and still serve the people of Kentucky with the same level of dedication. This is one of the most significant steps that we can take to support the men and women who hold that line. If you ever find yourself in the most dangerous moments of your life, I promise you want a Kentucky State Trooper coming to your aid. Let's do right by them. Let's vote yes on this bill. Support the thin gray line. Give our troopers the opportunity to live the life they deserve. Thank you. I'll entertain any questions.
Senator Boswell.
Well, a comment and a question. Senator, I think this is probably a very good bill. I would want to just say one thing about the retirement, about the pay for the Kentucky State Troopers. Obviously, they're never going to be paid enough. The jobs that they do for us are amazing. But I do think, in all fairness to the state, we have made major improvements on what we are doing over the years. So could you give us just one small example? So the state trooper works a regular shift as a state trooper, and when would this additional hours be taking place, on the weekends or nighttime, typically?
Yes, sir. Yes, Senator. So we're leaving in this bill, it leaves it up to the commissioner to write the policy of what this actually will be. But our recommendations would be, things like the convention center in Louisville. There's lots of opportunities there. For years, troopers have been working just on their normal their timeline there, and they're watching all the other officers who go in there and work for sometimes around $85 an hour. In some regards, if we're talking about the Derby, Churchill Downs, there's officers making over around $150 an hour.
But the state troopers are not allowed to do that.
No, sir. No, sir.
Senator Nunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'll indulge me a couple minutes, I think I can provide some helpful context here. In a prior life, I was a branch manager of a security guard company in Lexington, and we'd get requests for armed guards quite often. And one of the first questions I'd ask, say, well, who do you want us to shoot? And they'd say, well, I don't want you to shoot anybody. I'd say, well, probably best to hire an off-duty police officer, because he or she is going to be much better trained than the officer I could place out here with a weapon. They're going to have arrest powers, and they're going to show up in a uniform, which is a great deterrent to the problem that you're trying to avoid. And so that's what I often recommend to my clients, often to the financial detriment of my P&L, but I thought it was the right thing to do. After a year doing that job, one of my customers, Toyota 2 Show America, recruited me to be their first corporate security manager. And so I set up our physical security program for North America. And for one of the first policies that I implemented was anytime we had a concern about workplace violence or whatever need, we would hire local off-duty police officers to perform that job for the reasons that I just explained. So I think this is a credible step to allow our very honorable state police, a thin gray line as you refer to them, to be able to have those same opportunities and provide really a service to our private employers across the Commonwealth and deter a lot of crime.
I do have one more question. Senator Higdon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Senator Reed, thank you for bringing this bill forward. I think this General Assembly is always highly complimentary of our Kentucky State Police, and rightfully so. They are the best. And one of the things that in my position as a committee chairman, make sure that we communicate with state police and get their blessing on bills that we file. And I'm sure you've done this and check with the commissioner. It's all good. And could you share what his comments were on the bill?
Well, I haven't spoke with the commissioner directly on this, but we've talked back and forth with other members of the brass, and there may be some things that they're concerned about, but I think I alleviated those concerns when I made it clear that the commissioner will be, the buck stops there. So it's going to be up to the commissioner to develop that policy and to be, the captain of that ship, to drive it however they see fit. We're just making it, legal for them to do so, and directing them to make a policy for their troopers to finally have that option.
Well, thank you for reaching out to them, and I would encourage my colleagues, anytime you have a bill that remotely involves KSP, to make sure you run it past them, because they do appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Senator Reed.
Mm-hmm. At this time, if there's no further questions, do I have a motion on the bill? I have a motion from Senator Boswell, a second from Senator Richardson. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Aye.
Senator Higdon. Aye. Senator Nunn. Aye. Senator Reed.
Aye.
Senator Richardson. Senator Tishner. Chair Deneen.
Aye. Your bill passes unanimously, and we look forward to moving it on to the floor.
Thank you, Mr.
Senator.
Chairman. Appreciate y'all.
All right, at this time, next up, we have a Senate Concurrent Resolution 67. There is a committee sub. Is there a motion to adopt the committee sub? Boswell's made a motion, seconded by Senator Nunn. All in favor, say aye. Like sign. Ayes have it. Committee sub is adopted. All right, Senator, please introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. Senator Robin Webb, and Senate Concurrent Resolution 67 is, I spoke a little of it on the floor when I filed it, after I filed it, and I waited to file it because of the recent disasters. I felt it might be a little fresh topic to talk about, but certainly relevant and timely. And this is a product of the last couple of years of my work on the issue of disasters. And Senator Higdon was with one meeting with me on the bill, but I've worked for the last couple of years with internationally and nationally from NCSL, CSG, Pew Foundation, and the American Flood Council on this issue, and largely in part to my technical background in the mining industry. And if I hadn't been a lawyer, I was on my way to hydrology school. So I've always kind of been a water nerd that way. But anyway, it's been a product that's near and dear to my heart. A couple years ago, the Kentucky's weather patterns have been unprecedented from a historical standpoint, from the west to the east. Recently, we had all 120 counties under a flash flood warning, and that was unprecedented. That's, to my knowledge, the first time in meteorological recorded history it was stated by one of our weathermen. And we found my district is in this newly formed ice storm belt. And you've got tornadoes and flooding in areas, that historically haven't seen the magnitude. Instead of a 100-year flood, we're getting 500-year floods and 200-year storms in a period of years. So it's creating a lot of issues, both physical, we're going to talk about that today in A&R, physical impact. And so what this task force, and, love them or hate them, sometimes you got to do them. This task force will bring individuals together to identify risks, resilience factors, how the state can best prepare, and then mitigation and remediation, and hopefully those other issues such as insurance. We see a withering insurance market for individuals' homes and property. And federal response, federal, state, local interaction agencies, and technologies that municipalities and states can use to lessen the impact of these weather events, along with response and communication, notifications. So, again, it's something that it's been very dear to me in the last couple of years. I was in Governor Hutchinson's, in the Arkansas state capitol when the tornado hit Little Rock, and then hit to Memphis, and then hit West Kentucky, all in that one tornado event. And driving back home, I cut my trip short and came back through West Kentucky and saw the magnitude of that. We've had tornadoes in West Liberty in the past few years, lost one of our judge's secretaries and lost a life. Then the flooding, I don't have to remind y'all of, 2 years ago, I lost my first client in Hazard along with 2 or 3 other folks I knew. And then recently, those events in Hazard and Pikeville, I was on a chat with Senator Wheeler when he was cleaning out his law office, and Senator Maiden when his electric went off. So, we are all being touched by this. And hopefully what this task force would do would allow us to assemble members of all aspects and try to identify practices that would better prepare Kentucky, save us money, save us lives, and how we can best conform. And other states are kind of looking at this too, and whether they're coastal or otherwise, everybody's got different issues. But what we're finding now is we've got to address these historical floods and wind and different patterns that's affecting us on standpoints for agriculture and business and every aspect of our lives, just public safety, driving from here to home sometimes, and make sure that Kentucky is a leader in this. And save us some money. I mean, we've got. I left Asheville the day that it started raining, and it was that again put me in a spot to bring attention to this issue, and it's just something that we're seeing more of, and I think Kentucky needs to be out on the forefront of. And I would ask for y'all to support this resolution, and I'd entertain any questions. Got my bill drafter here, and he's a Knott Countyan, Jesse Farler, and it's close to his heart too. He's worked real hard on it, and I appreciate that. And again, I appreciate leadership letting me attend these things and work on this issue. So,
Thank you for the motion, but before we do, we have a couple of folks that would have some questions or comments to make before we move to the motion. Senator Nunn.
Again, just a comment, and I'm talking more today than I normally like to, but I always say old sayings are old sayings for a reason. They stand the test of time, and we all have heard the old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And I think that's what we're looking to do here. And so we've seen a lot of flooding recently. We understand there's things that can be done to mitigate that with our creeks and streams and different things. So I think this is a worthwhile, noble goal, and I appreciate you doing it.
thank you.
Senator Boswell. I do have a question. As I look down over your membership of your board on page 2 of 3, it has several. Let me see the substitute. Thank you. That's what I'm. When I was going down the membership of the task force, I did see where the Division of Emergency Management, or designatee, is a part of this. The executive director of the Homeland Security, or their designatee. Anywhere in here, did you have an opportunity to discuss this or reach out to our National Guard, who tend to respond to these natural disasters quite a bit? Would there be an opportunity maybe for them to also be involved in your task force?
I would not object to that. I think we depend greatly on them, and just sometimes even take them for granted. They've got best in the nation, in my opinion. But I would have no problem with adding them.
Okay.
This is kind of a novel approach. A couple other states are trying this, and their concerns and issues are a little different than ours. So, it's a work in progress, is the way I view it.
Well, you have a great list of a large list of people to be involved in this, and I would encourage you to consider our National Guard to have a representative there as well. But I do think that this is tremendously important, and it is badly needed. And as Senator Nunn expressed, I think anything that we can do to better prepare ourselves and our citizens and those involved, and what we can do to be better prepared. I've always said there's two people you can never win a battle with, and that is Mother Nature and Father Time. They're undefeated. So even though they are undefeated, we do have opportunities to prepare ourselves for these disasters, and I thank you for bringing this concurrent resolution. Do I have a motion on this resolution? We have a motion from Senator Nunn and a second from Senator Tishner. Call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
I'd like to vote aye, and I'd like to explain my vote.
Go ahead.
So I think this is a good bill. I always get a little concerned looking down the road, though, to make sure this doesn't become a where there's a whole lot of money going to have to be spent. So I've read the bill, and I don't think that's the intent of the bill. Thank you.
Senator Higdon. Senator Nunn. Senator Reed. Senator Richardson. Senator Tishner. Chair Deneen.
Aye. Your Senate concurrent resolution passes unanimously. Congratulations,
Thank you,
Senator.
Mr. Chairman, members.
We will move it forward. We are making great time today, folks. At this time, we'd like to invite a colleague from the House side to come up and present House Bill 234, Representative Wade Williams and guest. So please, when you take the chair, please identify yourself for the record and your guest as well, and then you may begin, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Wade Williams. I'm the representative from the 4th Legislative District.
I'm Sean Butler. I'm the Executive Director for the Kentucky Police Chiefs Association.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that I don't know how many House bills you've heard yet, but probably not a lot of them, and I know you have a lot to go through, and I appreciate you taking the opportunity to hear this one. And I know that the protection of our law enforcement officers are always top tier in what we want to do in this committee, and I appreciate your willingness to hear this. So 234 is essentially, I know we hear this a lot, it's a clean-up, easy bill. And it was brought to me by the attention by the members of the Kentucky Association of Chiefs of Police and some of the FOP members. To give you a little historical context to this, the Kentucky Department of Homeland Security administers funds in form of grants that came as a result of confiscated or abandoned firearms through the Kentucky State Police auction service. So these grants provide life-saving equipment, tasers, bulletproof vests, and the like. And it was determined that our airport police departments were left off the list of eligible organizations that can apply for this grant. So all this does is add the airport police to that list of organizations, and that's all it does, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion on the bill from Senator Richardson, a second from Ms. Boswell. Is there any further discussion or questions before we move to a vote? Senator Richardson.
Thank you for being here, Representative Williams. How many are employed in airport safety, security, and police forces? Just general number. I'm just curious.
I'd say it's probably less than 100. This would encompass Northern Kentucky, Lexington, Louisville.
Gotcha.
Would be the three.
Thank you.
I actually do have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Nunn.
Maybe just to help our dialogue as this moves forward. I think it's, Craig or Senator Richardson's question kind of spurred this for me. Anytime you add, there's always the concern of who does it take from. I think the representation here today means that it's probably not a real big concern, but is there any concern about this diminishing funds for police departments that don't have the funding mechanisms that an airport police department might have, and is that something we need to be at all concerned about?
I don't believe it will. The airports, like every other department, they have to turn in their weapons, so they're actually still turning in these weapons. I think it's minimal. It's based on need, and I don't think this will have an issue. I really don't see it having any issue.
To my knowledge, I think all of the grants most of them were funded to the level they were asked
Yes.
for, so I don't see this really causing a detrimental effect of that.
Thank you.
Call the roll. Mr. Secretary.
Senator Boswell. Senator Higdon. Senator Nunn. Senator Reed. Senator Richardson. Senator Tishner. Chair Deneen.
Aye, and explain my vote. Today's been a good day. We have dealt with a lot of public protection issues here today, and surrounding our law enforcement and those that serve our Commonwealth. Sometimes in this committee we are so focused on veterans affairs that sometimes the public protection side of things is we don't hear as much of, but we do. And today was one of those days. I thank you for your bill, and I believe that it will be greatly appreciated by those affected by it. So, and I also thank you, sir, Do you have any comments to make before we close out?
No, sir. Just thank you for allowing us to bring this bill forward.
All right. With that said, the vote is unanimous, and congratulations, and it will be moved on favorably, and the same should pass. At this time, we have one announcement to make from Corey Ann Jackson. Is she here today? All right. If she could, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the
Representative
committee.
Williams.
Hi, good morning, friends. I think it's almost lunchtime, so I'll be brief. Just wanted to extend a heartfelt invitation to you all to come to the Boone National Guard Center on Monday of next week from 12 to 3, where we're going to be Major General Lamberton, your Adjutant General of the Kentucky National Guard, and our soldiers and airmen, along with the Department of Military Affairs, will have our annual legislator briefing and aerial rotary wing flight over Frankfurt. So we'll serve you lunch too, and get you up to speed on all things National Guard, military affairs. And we'd love to have you. So as soon as you can shoot me an email or see me after this meeting or talk to Jessica or one of us, we'll get you signed up. And we'd love to have you. Thank you so much. Have a great week.
Can you repeat that date and time?
Yes,
And
sir.
Also, I believe there's a time frame on RSVPs.
Yes,
so
sir.
could you please repeat those three things for us?
Yes, sir. Monday, March the 10th from 12 to 3 p.m. I know some of you in years past, if you can attend the briefing and not the flight, or the flight and not the briefing, that's totally fine. We understand. We'd just love to have you a few minutes of your time. And then the deadline for RSVP is Friday,
March the 7th.
March the 7th. Yes, sir.
I believe Senator Higdon has
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I know General Lamberton was looking for volunteers to repel out helicopter. I was going to nominate Senator Reed and
I'm in.
and Senator Deneen. He's in too. But I want to make you blush if I can.
No, don't do that.
I just want to commend you for your work on Military Kids Day. You were a valuable part in making that all come together, and I appreciate your work you do for this committee and for the National Guard and for the state of Kentucky. Thank you. You're certainly a blessing and an asset.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You all have a great week. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. All right. At this time, is there any other business to come before this committee? If not, we are adjourned.